I know investors don't want to spend $20,000 on a studio kitchen. I work with investors to see what their price points are, what they're willing to spend. I learned to make sure everything is on paper. Make sure your contracts are detailed.
All right, guys, welcome to another episode 64. Episode 64. Thank you always for listening to the Real Talk podcast. Today I have a special guest, an industry colleague, a friend of mine. His name is Phil Garcia with O&L Expert Contracting. Phil is one of my go-to general contractors in New York City. He specializes in renovations of kitchen, bathrooms, and co-ops and condos all throughout Manhattan. He does small jobs, big jobs, and everything in between. So Phil, welcome. How you doing?
Thank you. I'm good, man. How you doing, son?
Thanks for taking your time. I know you're a busy man, running around the city with all your guys and all your men.
Hey, that's what we gotta do.
I know, man. I
New
get
York
it.
City, know how it is.
I get it. It's summertime. The weather's good.
Yeah.
The apartments are coming on the market.
Yeah, I mean, look, summertime is always a hot time in New York.
It is.
Whether it's real estate or just going out and having a good time, that's what New York is
That's
all
right.
about.
That's right. So I have a bunch of questions for you and for
Sure.
our guests. Before we dive into your job and your work and business, just want to get, let's get a couple your thoughts on a couple quick hitters.
Okay.
These are, I'm going to give you some words. And just answer them in 1 to 2 or
Okay.
3 words. Whatever comes on the top of your head. You could be real, you could be fake, you could be funny, whatever you want. There's really no rules to this, okay?
Alright, cool.
So, game show button, music on. There we go. Question number 1. COVID real estate 2020.
I would say frightening.
Frightening, 100%. COVID real estate 2021.
Depends on who you ask, right? I guess
For you,
for me, it's I would say eye-opening.
eye-opening,
Definitely.
100%. Quote unquote, nobody wants to work.
Semi-accurate.
Semi-accurate.
Yeah, definitely.
Supply chain.
Nightmare.
Nightmare. Department of Buildings.
No comment. No. I'd say nightmare.
Okay, yeah, okay. Navigating the DOB is unlike anything else on this planet. Okay. Plumbers.
Plumbers. Good people.
Good people. Yeah, right. Absolutely necessity.
Yes.
Okay. Co-op boards.
Temperamental.
Temperamental. Okay. Co-op managing agents.
They're just doing their job, man. They're just doing their job.
All right. Electricians.
Essential. Definitely essential. Yes.
Okay. Gas prices.
High.
High. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
You have a big truck.
Yeah, I have a couple of vehicles.
You have a couple.
Yeah, so my truck is about $130 to fill it up. And I usually fill it up about 3 times a week.
3 times.
So that's just on one truck. So
Jeez.
yeah.
New York City.
The greatest city in the world, man. Yeah, of course. I mean,
Greatest
I don't
city,
think
baby.
there's anything better. I mean,
It is city, baby. That's
yeah.
right. Agreed. I have a bonus, a couple answers that I want you to kind of spit out.
Let's do it.
So I'm gonna hit you with some industry
Okay.
related terminology and maybe some New York City related terminology.
Great.
Okay. Architects.
No comment.
No
Yeah,
comment. Alright.
I was trying to, but no comment.
Okay,
yes,
fine.
no comment.
Expediters.
Expediters, good people.
Good
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, architects are too, but
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Painters.
Painters, a dime a dozen.
Down a dozen.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
Okay. Hiring.
Difficult, very difficult.
Difficult.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Give me your ideal teammate in a couple words.
Ideal team.
In work.
I need a go-getter,
Yeah.
right? Like somebody who's not gonna sit there and try to ask the questions. I need somebody who's quick thinking,
Mm-hmm.
right? Somebody who think on their feet. Because sometimes, so for instance, I have a foreman that I use, and he's been on my team since I started. And other employees, they'll call you and ask you about every little detail. This guy, he could build you a house from scratch.
Oh.
You just tell him what you need to do, and he'll figure out how to do it. I know those are very difficult
How
to
do you
find.
find
but
more people like that?
in And this time, right now, the problem is, I think we did a question earlier, which was nobody wants to work,
Quote, unquote,
right? Quote unquote, nobody wants to work.
Right?
And I think there's two issues with that. One thing is people want to work, but they don't want to work for low wages, which I ask any of my employees, they're very well compensated, which I don't mind doing, especially if it's for good work, right? Yeah. But they want to get paid very well to do little to no work with no experience,
Sure.
right? It's my line of work. No, I'm just talking about my line of work. Then you have the guys who know what they're doing, but they're also a little lazy. But they also want to get paid high. So it's kind of difficult. It's very difficult to find the hardworking person that that you can trust. Because, like I said, painters, plasters, you can find them anywhere, but good ones are difficult to find. Yeah.
Okay. Well, so let's dive into that a little bit more later. I want to get into some warm-up questions about you. This is not a one or two words, answer. You just use a couple sentences.
Sure.
Just so that our listeners can get to know who you are as an individual.
Okay.
So give me your go-to activity in New York City.
Eat.
Yeah. What do you like to do?
I mean, like
guess
trying out new restaurants.
What's your go-to restaurant
Yeah,
right now?
I mean, it depends on where you ask, right? So I'm a Queens boy,
Yeah.
So born and raised in Queens, and I would probably say there's a really good Peruvian restaurant there called Maca. It's in Rego Park, really good spot. But if we're talking Manhattan, you got to go with the classic Patsy's.
Okay.
Patsy's, yeah,
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
I like it. Good choice.
Oh yeah.
Where are you originally from again? You were born and raised in Queens?
Well, so yeah, my family is originally from Peru. My father came here in '85, I believe. I'm born in Brooklyn.
All right.
Brooklyn, lived there for about a year.
Whereabouts?
And then moved to Red Hook, the Red Hook area. Yeah. And then I moved to Richmond Hill, Queens. Yep. So, yeah, been to Queens. Been in Queens.
So you went to high school there?
Yeah, high school, junior high school, and even graduated from Queens College.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. What did you study?
Initially, it was archaeology when I went to school up in Connecticut.
Okay.
Realized they don't really make much money, so I decided to get into finance. But I had all these history credits.
Yeah.
So I said, why not just double major, just get a history and a finance degree.
Might as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. So did you want to do some kind of banking work?
Yeah, definitely. That was the goal at first, and then unfortunately my father had gotten sick, so he actually had a construction company as well.
He did.
So I helped him run the business before he got sick. Once he passed away, I said, should I get into finance or should I just continue to do what I'm doing? And had this business for about 8 years already. So.
So going back to your father, right? I met your dad only really in passing through just real estate, and he had already been doing a lot of apartments and turning over apartments in the neighborhood. So he already had a reputation of being kind of like the go-to guy.
Yep.
Is that what you wanted to? Did you? What was your feeling about taking over that responsibility, the legacy that he built?
Yeah, I mean,
after his passing.
Fortunately enough for me, my father made us all work with him every summer, right? So we were very, very well taught. You know how to deal with clients. Supply chains. How to do all that, especially with construction. You can get supplies anywhere, but getting them to be responsible to get the supply on time, keep their rates relatively, marketable, right?
Marketable,
And so we were able to. He taught me a lot just by watching him do what he does, right?
Okay.
And being that I had a great role model in that sense, it was very easy for me to just continue doing what I was doing. I'm a very I'm people friendly, right?
Sure.
I love having conversations with you. Clearly, you can
Like
see, right? Like the one we're having now, and so it wasn't very difficult for me to transition into actually running the business as opposed to being just an employee.
It's pretty. I mean, how old were you when you first started under your? I guess after your dad had passed. I mean, did you just kind of get in right away?
I got in right away. Yeah. So I started my business in 2015. So we're going on 7 years now.
You were how old then?
I was 25.
Oh, okay. All right,
25,
so still very young to be an independent contractor. Be your own man.
Exactly.
Hire your own men.
Correct.
And get the business off and running.
Definitely.
Very relatable. Mad props to that. Same with myself. Young at a young age, not have a salary, and you have to pay for your own health insurance benefits. It's that can be pretty daunting.
No, it's scary at first, of course. You're making
no money really.
You're making a decision that most people wouldn't make.
That's right.
Knowing the consequences.
No safety net whatsoever.
Exactly. Yep.
What's your favorite neighborhood, New York City?
Yeah, I mean, Queens is always love, right?
Queens, yeah, like I said, I'm a Queens boy, so I'd say probably Richmond Hill. That's where I grew up. Have places like Astoria, Long Island City, that growing up, they weren't the best neighborhoods, but, now forget about it.
It's amazing.
Yeah, oh yeah.
What makes Queens so good to live in?
The food. Let's go back to the food, yeah. I mean, and it's also the culture, man, because there are so many different cultures in Queens, not only the city, but in Queens alone. I mean, I know in Jackson Heights, they speak over 150 different languages.
Oh, wow,
Heights.
yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Queens in general, you have your Greeks, you have your Italians, you have your Portuguese, you have your Colombians, your Mexicans, your Puerto Ricans, you have everything.
It is a huge
and that's not
melting
even
pot.
going into, College Point where you have your Chinese, your Koreans. There's a lot of different kinds of people in Queens, which is why I believe it makes the Queens the best borough in New York
That's right.
City. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. The diversity.
Exactly, yeah.
Right. Do you have a role model in kind of this, industry of being in the real estate, but in the contracting side of things? And who is it? Is it somebody
other than Tuck, I'd have to say.
Contractors.
No. I mean, I have a buddy who kind of put me on to. So when I first started, I was just thinking strictly construction, right? Just renovate people's homes, make people's, apartments their dream home. Mainly, I work in the city, so I don't really, that's why I really don't. When I consider a dream home, I mainly mean apartments, because in Queens, Queens and Brooklyn, I don't know. I just never really stuck around there, so I just focused mainly in the city. But somebody who helped me transition into actual real estate, like flipping, buying holds, is a buddy of mine. I went to high school with him. His name is Ibn. He moved out to Chicago, and
shout out Ibn.
Yeah, shout out to Ibn. I'll tell you his Instagram later. But no, he's a smart kid, man, and he put me onto how to take my line of work and actually capitalize on it with real estate.
You have a huge advantage.
Oh yeah, definitely. He actually opened my eyes to that. So I'd probably say him. Yeah.
Okay. What's the? Do you have an insult that you've ever been received that you're proud of?
Masochist.
Masochist. You love the pain.
I love it, man.
You talking about physically or?
No. Like, so, as New Yorkers, I think we're all a little bit masochist, right? I mean, who wants to pay $2,500 in rent for a studio? But I love the grind. Yeah. I love to work. I love to go out there and get it myself. My brother, and the only reason I say masochist is because my brother told me, "You come move to Texas, come down here. You could you could still work, but you don't have to work as hard.
Right.
You can get a huge house.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Sure. It's like $300 a foot.
But it's a different lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? That's not my lifestyle.
It's not the daily grind or
hustle. No, exactly.
It's also not as diverse.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No.
Probably only speak one language there.
Probably. Two. Definitely two. Yeah.
Okay, so masochist. That's interesting. I like that word, and I don't think anyone on my guest has ever come up with an answer that is as clever or interesting as that.
Yeah, I mean, look. It made sense when my brother told me. I said at first, I'm like, I don't really like the pain, but then you think about it, like there are easier cities to live in, where you can live comfortably and not 100%. Have to work as hard, but we're still here in New York City.
That's right. I think humans are, in some extent, meant to struggle a little bit.
Oh yeah.
We grow and we become better through the grind.
Yeah.
Through the grit and the process, and if we don't struggle, then low pressure guarantees low results is what they say, right?
Yeah. So that's the same. Yeah.
Cool. Final question on the warm-up side.
Okay.
Do you have a morning routine? I know you have a routine with your kids at like.
Yeah. So I have a 9-year-old daughter. So we wake up 5:30, 6 o'clock.
Your daughter's 9?
Yeah.
So you were young, huh? You were a young dad.
That's one of the reasons why I decided to continue with construction, because I needed some money, man. So what better way to make money than construction? So
9 years old. Okay. So your daughter.
So we wake up at 5:30 to 6 in the morning. Walk the dogs, make breakfast. My daughter is a little bougie. She doesn't like school lunch, so I have to make lunch for her every day. So we, just get ready, brush our teeth. Usually I always put in an order for a supply the night before. So if I have to go pick it up, I'll pick it up in the morning.
So as in like what, like a dishwasher or something?
No. I mean like sheetrock, like building material. Building material, yeah. Sometimes if I get it from my suppliers here in the city, I'll put the order in the day before. If I'm going to pick it up from Home Depot, I'll do it online. I use my JetBlue app, so I get points for every dollar that I spend. So
you have to listen to my previous episode that I talk about. Contractors have a leg up because they got to buy $10,000 worth of appliances.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, what are you going to put it on? You got to put it on a card. You got to make sure you get those points. JetBlue is great for domestic flights and flights to Cancun.
Yep.
That's
and now London too.
London, that's right. There you go. So good. You know your stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, and then so you pick up your supplies, and then you're basically
and then that's it. And then I come straight to the office. Yeah,
okay.
my daughter's close by, so it's.
Where's your daughter go to school in Manhattan?
Yeah, she's in the city. Yeah.
Nice, good. Mm-hmm. So you have one kid.
One kid, yeah.
One, got it. And one wife.
One wife, yes. I mean, yes. No comment. No. No, yeah, just one. Yes.
Right. So let's talk about O&L. Just for our listeners, Phil has done dozens of jobs for me, and we use Compass Concierge. Some of them are self-funded through our owners, but through Phil, I also even got to learn a lot about the cost of a kitchen or a cost of a bathroom type of finish, or little things like USB ports and outlets, outlets, or how if this wall needs skim coating and why, or this apartment is not completely flat because up here is messed up because of X, Y, and Z. So I learned a lot. I want to know more about what your job entails. I guess for our listeners, first off, maybe give us like a 20-30 second pitch on what you exactly do.
I specify. I specialize in mainly Tudor City. Older buildings that need a facelift.
Tudor City's in Midtown East.
Yeah, and they're about almost 100 years old, so I know my way around the buildings. I'm investor friendly, but I can also do high quality work, custom work.
What do you mean by investor friendly?
So I know investors don't want to spend $20,000 on a studio kitchen.
Yeah.
Right?
No.
I know that. So I work with investors to see what their price points are, what they're willing to spend. And once they tell me what their budget is, I try to fit whatever I can, as much as I can, into that budget, so that they can make a profit and I can make a profit.
Got it. Okay. So, with regards to renovation work, are you specifically just doing certain types of properties, like you just do kitchens and studios, or do you do homes or condos?
Most of my business is in Tudor City, which are 1 bedrooms and studios. But we do branch out. We're in contract for a project on Madison Avenue in the 80s.
Okay.
So it's a big duplex, right? We're gutting the whole place, custom cabinetry, custom everything.
Okay, so you'll go from anywhere to anywhere. As long as obviously the costs and you do the cost benefit analysis and make sure it makes sense for you and your team and your guys. How did you get the clients that want to renovate a house? How does that work, part of the business?
I'm very old-fashioned. I use word of mouth. I got tricked into spending some marketing money once.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
I didn't really need it. Yeah, I mean, I have enough clients. I have good relationships with a lot of brokers, a lot of real estate agents. And they know we do quality work, so we always get a lot of recommendations.
Right. I think mainly I hire you because it's quality work, but also you're like you said, you're investor friendly, so you are reasonable.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, the sky's the limit in New York City when it comes to contractors. I mean, you want to, I could probably find 20 guys that will likely do the same job as you do, but charge 3 times more.
Exactly. Yeah.
So the sky's the limit. What's the big misconception when people hire general contractors to do work?
That we're not trustworthy. I understand.
You hear nightmares.
Yeah. And I actually finished the project for another contractor. I don't know who the contractor was, but I got called into this job, and they told me the story, and I felt bad because I know I'm not one of these people that's gonna try and just take your money and not do any work. So I understand, but at the same time, I also understand them because you're not gonna give you can't trust everybody just off the get, but also you're giving somebody $50,000.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, so I can understand where there's a little.
It's like, do you buy a Porsche or do you hire a
contractor?
Yeah,
exactly.
A Porsche at least is going to come in, he's going to run, drive.
Yeah, you know what you'll get out of it, but a contractor,
Porsche isn't going to disappear.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yep, exactly.
Well, so what are some things that can cause friction between owner and a contractor, whether it's a financial misconception or the realistic amount of work or the type of finish? Like, what kind of things happen during the process that gives friction like that?
Definitely, what I would say is I learned to make sure everything is on paper. Make sure your contracts are detailed, because once a situation comes up where a client says, no, this isn't the type of tile I wanted, look, we have it. So I like texting a lot because it's all there. It's all there. You have to keep a line of communication open. You have to be honest with the clients, even if it's bad news. You have to tell them right away, because if you decide, you know what, I won't tell them, I'll just do it this way, because they probably won't notice, and then they notice, that brings a problem, because now you have to repair it. You say, well, no, the job is done already. They don't think it's done, and there's a clash there. So generally, I like to keep a line of communication open with my clients all the time. I'll tell them right away if something comes up. It comes up, we have to deal with it.
So it's putting it in writing and management of expectations.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely.
Right. You want to set the tone on how the renovation process is going to start and end.
Exactly. Yeah.
What are co-op boards? And why are co-op boards tough with owners that want to renovate? I mean, we're talking, permits and alteration agreement fees and deposits and.
So they have to protect themselves. I have a buddy who's a property manager, and I ask him questions whenever. So on one project we had to get automotive insurance.
What?
I said automotive insurance, but you don't have a garage.
Oh.
You don't have, my car isn't going to get damaged on your property. I'm parking on street property.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But it's like, I'm not going into your garage. I'm not going to hit your garage. I'm
Right.
not, nothing's going to happen to my car in your, I'm parking on the street. So no, we still need it. So I needed to spend about $10,000 just to get the automotive insurance for one project.
Goodness.
And so I asked my buddy, and he goes, look, you can ask them for a waiver, but I'm pretty sure they won't give it to you. So I get they're trying to protect themselves from any liability, right? Which is understandable. But then you have some buildings where you're just trying to go in for a paint job, and then they want a $5,000 security deposit.
Come on now.
And
also an application fee of $1,000.
Application fee of $1,000.
The owner has to pay $1,000 in application fee just to paint, and then they have to pay you to paint.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, exactly. Which makes life a little bit more difficult for me.
Yeah.
But at the same, which is why I don't like to raise my prices too much unless I really have to. We're in a market where I really have to now, so unfortunately prices are going up. I mean, that's everything though.
Right. So. Listen, I know these managing agents have to get paid, but
yeah, of course.
We are right now in an undisclosed location. They're probably getting paid $100,000 to manage this building.
Oh yeah.
But they also need $1,000 from an owner just to get a paint job done? I mean, can I call it a racket? Maybe I can. I know you're not calling it a racket.
No, of course. Look, keep me out of this.
Keep me out of this.
No,
I'm just thinking,
as
as a property owner myself, I would be, if I wanted to rent out an apartment, I would not be happy if I'm getting charged $1,000 just for somebody to shuffle paperwork around.
Of course,
where is that money really going to? Because ultimately, let's go back to insurance. $10,000 for an automotive coverage for a car that you're not even parking on their property for. That $10,000 is coming out of your pocket, but it's also gonna get passed down to the cost
of course.
of the job.
Of course.
I mean, you're not gonna take.
I'm not taking losses.
Right.
I'm not taking losses.
Ultimately, someone else is gonna take the hit of that. And that's the seller, or the shareholder, or the owner of the property.
Precisely,
right?
yep.
So, does that really, in your ideal world, how should it be run for managing agents and co-op boards and condo boards?
I mean, that.
Be realistic? Is that what do you think?
Not be. I mean, it also depends. I think being reasonable, because I understand you have to make money, and also you are taking some liability. But in terms of, like we said, we need $1,000, $5,000 security deposit just to paint an apartment. I think, is that necessary? Is it because like you said earlier, you're gonna give them $1,000 just to paint, then you gotta pay me, right? Which is whatever it is, and then you also need to, and it's not like you can write them a personal check. It has to be a certified check.
Yeah.
So you're making somebody off the bat spend over $6,000 just to paint their apartment. Of course, you're gonna get the $5,000 back, but
it just seems an extraordinary amount of money for not that much of a job.
Exactly.
Okay. Do you have any visions of how the future of co-op boards and managing agents will veer to? Do you think it'll get more expensive? Do you think it'll get more difficult? Or do you think it'll kind of stay the same? Or do you think people will come down to more reality and the process itself will kind of fix?
Well, I think in New York is definitely a tough city to try to bring any prices down, right? Mm-hmm. But I think it's probably going to get worse, personally, just because
From a
I know
paperwork and the financial standpoint.
from the financial standpoint, definitely. The paperwork is the paperwork. Every alteration agreement package I've ever worked on looks like it's been copy and pasted.
I see.
They're all pretty
Right.
much the same.
Okay.
One, you'll have some differences here and there, but they're all pretty much the same. Building rules, telling you what you can or can't touch. Elevator hours. Stuff like that's pretty basic. But in terms of the financials, you'll see some buildings. They run into some financial problems, and they want us to cover it. Not us, the contractors, but the shareholders
To cover it.
So they're probably gonna get it out of alteration agreements or other ways. So.
What kind of advice do you have right now for a seller or future seller in today's market that, let's just say, has not touched their apartment in 5 to 10 years?
Renovate.
Yeah?
Yeah, you have to.
And why is that?
You got to see all the competition that's around the city. Studios, I'll speak on studios because I know studios the best.
Sure.
Studios, you have these old apartments here. Nobody really wants to renovate their homes. A lot of people, they just want to come in and just live.
Right. You mean the buyers that
the
come
buyer,
in.
yeah, the buyer. Nobody
The
really
buyer
wants to
wants
come
to
in
come
and
in.
do the work.
Sure.
20 years ago, you had a bunch of people who were doing it themselves. They'll come in, I have an idea of what I want, let's do it. But recently, just in my experience, people want to come into something that's already done. Something they don't really have to touch. So.
Yeah, bring your suitcase and your toothbrush.
That's
and you're
right.
good to go.
That's right.
Tell me about the types of materials that you like to use, the brands of appliances that you like to use. Why? I want to know more. I don't know this as well. I want to get into why this type of countertop. What's the difference between X and Y? Composite versus granite, marble versus Caesarstone. Like, tell me.
Yeah, so
Give me a brief
generally I recommend using quartz, especially in Tudor City.
Why is that?
Quartz is it's a man-made stone. It's impenetrable, so you don't have to worry about any cracking on your
Doesn't
quartz.
chip?
There's no split. Chip. Everything's gonna chip, but
Yeah.
it depends on how hard you hit it, right? Quartz is very much more durable than quartz and marble. I would never suggest putting marble in a kitchen or in a very wet spot unless you're gonna protect it all the time, because marble is a stone that's very
Stains.
Yeah, it stains very easily. So unless you're gonna seal it, be cautious to make sure it maintains dry, it stays dry as much as possible.
So why do brokers call it marble bathroom all the time in the descriptions? Is it, you don't like marble?
It's probably not marble.
It's probably not marble.
It's probably not marble. It's
There you
probably
go.
yeah.
Cool. All
It's
right,
probably
so
not marble.
what do you
yeah.
think it is?
I mean,
I guess it depends.
marble. It could be. It's mainly porcelain. A lot of people, especially in Tudor City, nobody's gonna put in $4,000 worth of tile if it's real marble into their bathrooms. So they just get porcelain. $2 a square foot. It's much easier, and it looks really nice. The porcelains that they make now in tiles for tiles, it looks really good.
So top 3 finish in a kitchen or bathroom in terms of tiles is what is it again?
For bath.
For bathroom. or kitchen.
So bathrooms, it's either the porcelain marble, the faux
Porcelain
marble, subway tile, right,
Subway.
which is a New York City classic, right? Some people like to
Love a
maintain.
subway. Subway tile.
And I would probably say, yeah, I mean, I think those are top 2. The other ones, it could just be based on people's
What's it,
taste.
Caesarstone?
No, Caesarstone is a quartz.
Oh,
it's a
Caesarstone's
quartz brand.
quartz.
Yeah, it's a
Got it.
brand. Yeah.
Okay.
So if we're talking countertops, I would definitely consider quartz. Unless you're doing something high end, of course, then but high end means you have to make sure that you have to take care of the stone, because
What's the dollar per square foot on the high end countertop versus quartz?
quartz, you could get quartz for as low as $40 a square foot.
$40 a foot.
Yeah, and then you could get
Okay.
marble that's as expensive as $130 a square foot.
And these, I'm sure you've heard of these guys like Related, Extel, the JDS, like
Yeah.
these big developers.
Yeah, of course.
That sell their condos sell at $2,000, $3,000 a foot, square foot.
Yeah.
So they are probably using a type of marble, and they have companies that come and seal it once a year, twice a year, whatever it is. The maintenance is kind of crazy. You don't have to do that in a Caesarstone.
Yeah,
countertop.
quartz you don't have to.
Quartz you don't have to.
You don't have to maintain it. Porcelain you don't have to maintain. It's all about the penetrability of the stone, right? So when that seal starts wearing off, the stone's starting to open up.
Yeah.
Right. So it's porous. So what happens? Any kind of
Little
moisture
red
gets
wine,
in. Oh,
done.
forget it. Oh,
Done.
Yeah. Yep.
Even if you wipe it off, it's probably in there.
Yeah, exactly. And then sometimes what happens is it starts splitting. You start getting these cracks in the granite or in the marble.
I see.
So yeah.
Huh, the more you know, huh?
Yeah.
The more you know.
It also depends on the size of the the layout of the apartment. Can we put in an island? Can we extend it, make it a little L-shaped kitchen?
Okay.
Can we do that? It all depends on the apartment. Like this apartment that we're in now, we were only able to take out, that closet right there. There used to be a closet where the fridge is.
Yeah.
So this was an ideal apartment to expand the kitchen.
Right.
Sometimes we don't have
You don't
that
have that
option.
extra closet
Yeah,
space. You don't have
exactly.
space for a countertop like this one.
Yeah.
What is the general DOB rule for dimensions, and you also have to have like a GFI, right?
Yeah,
And
so
you have to have like a distance between countertops. I mean, isn't there like a DOB rule regulations that you guys have to follow there, or no?
in terms of renovating a kitchen, we need to upgrade the electrical definitely because these old apartments, especially in the older apartments, they put all 2 appliances on one outlet, on one breaker. Technically, they want every every appliance to have its own dedicated line. We have to upgrade the 220 lines. What else? The outlets.
What exactly is a 220
220
line?
line is a 220 volt. It's for a cooktop, mainly for a cooktop. It's a different kind of cable that they have to run from the box because originally these didn't have any 220 lines.
Okay.
Back then they used to put the outlets way too close to the faucets.
Yeah.
So you have to move that.
I've seen that. It's kind of sketchy,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And they don't have breakers on them.
No,
So you
no,
probably
no,
could
yeah.
get shocked and probably get injured, right? Yeah.
No comment, but yes, yeah. Technically, yes.
So is that like a DOB requirement to have GFI if it's within a certain number of inches within water
Yeah, so
source? Or?
also, it has to be a certain amount of inches from the water source. And also,
Can't be right above the
GFI.
sink.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
That one is fine.
That's never a good idea, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that one.
That's GFI right there.
That is a GFI, but it's technically not legal.
Oh, it's not.
Full disclosure, I did not renovate this
Oh, you
apartment.
did not? You did not renovate this
I did not
apartment
renovate
that
this apartment. No. Technically, that GFI needs to be moved a little bit further. Actually, you can't. It's right behind the cooktop.
You can't have it.
You can't have it. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You get a video of that later too.
Yeah.
So that's in the B-roll.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Interesting. What else should owners know about rules or renovations on that? Bathroom risers.
Yeah. So it's difficult because sometimes what happens is I'm the expert here,
Yeah.
right? As the contractor, I'm the expert, so I'm supposed to know all the building rules. I'm supposed to know all the DOB rules. So I should be the one informing my client what they can and can't do.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll have a client who has all these ideas and expectations about what they can do,
Yeah.
but then it's my job to try to lower their expectations a little bit. But for the most part, it's all in your alteration agreement package. So if you don't know, you could always find out through those documents
Got
that
it.
your management companies have. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I know you're running out of time, so I want to get into the last couple hard-hitting questions.
All right, let's do it.
Tell me, how does the cost of a renovation work out? How is it determined? You have to take a cut, obviously. You have to pay your guys for labor.
course, yeah.
But, kitchen is 20 grand for this. And bathroom is 15 grand for that. But, how does that work? What's the breakdown on that generally?
Generally, let's use a $20,000 bathroom, for
Sure.
instance, right? It's usually about, I would say evenly 33%. I
33%.
usually like to take at least a third. Of course, it depends on the job.
That's
right?
a good margin, 33%.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes a little bit less, sometimes a little more, depends on the,
Yeah.
how fast we get it done, right? A bathroom, I usually like to take no more than 3 weeks.
Okay.
It does take that long because unfortunately I can't do my own plumbing. I can't do all my own electrical, so I have to rely on the plumbers to come in and do the job.
Right.
I have to wait for a water shutdown, because some of these service valves don't work.
What does
So they
a
have-
water shutdown mean?
So they have to shut down the water all the way from the basement, the
Bottom-
main valve.
bottom to the top?
Yeah, bottom to top. Yeah.
Yeah, so the whole building line doesn't have water, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Correct. So what happens is that's it. Like I said, it all depends on if the service valve. Technically, every apartment should have their own service valves, right? Their own service line, so you could shut down the water in your apartment. Thing is, in the 20s, they never really thought about that.
No.
They just some apartments don't even have shut-off valves, so they have to shut down the whole line.
I see.
Yep, and some of them actually have a shared service valve, so they service 2 apartments. So you have to let the tenant know, your next door neighbor know that we're going to shut down the water for a couple of hours, whatever it is, and so that all of that I have to take into consideration when it comes to timing. Electricians, the same issue that we have with the outlets next to the sink. It's the same problem we have in the bathrooms as well, so that has to be moved. Unfortunately, we can't touch it, so we have to sub that out.
Right.
It's something if it were in my house, I would do it myself, but, we have to
have the proper people
we have to follow the
permitted
rules,
and permitted and licensed and all that.
Exactly.
The cost itself varies so much in New York City within
Yeah.
contractors. Is it just because some contractors are just better, or is it because they just want to charge more, or is it because
A lot of
their
it-
vendors that their sources are more expensive?
It's a little bit of their reputation. They're allowed to, charge more. And also the material that they use. Oh, yeah, definitely. So, for the most part, especially in Tudor City, we work with a lot of investors, right? People who bought this 30 years ago.
rental.
The rental. So
Trying to
either
sell.
they just want to sell it or they want to renovate it so that they can have, better tenants, right? So for the most part, we don't really put in high cost material. But it all depends. Yeah. So I mean, a $20,000 bathroom could easily be 35, 40 if
Yeah.
you really want it to be.
Sure, it just
Right.
depends on the supplier.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then speaking of suppliers, is there a supply chain issue? You said earlier, yes.
Yeah, there
What's going on
definitely
there?
is.
What is it hard to get? Is it more expensive?
It's way more expensive. Building material, building material definitely is more expensive. It's not as difficult to get, but finished materials are like vanities. You want a certain faucet, medicine cabinet, light fixtures. Those are a little bit harder to get, especially when you're going into the higher end aspect of it. Home Depot is always going to have stuff. Lowe's is always going to have stuff. But generally, when you're working with a homeowner, somebody who wants to renovate their own house or their pied à terre, they don't want to use lower quality Home Depot or Lowe's stuff. So they want to get
that. You want to use good quality.
Yeah, exactly.
Pay the
Yeah,
right price.
yeah. And
do it for yourself.
the price of everything is insane right now. So
Do you have any troubles getting, I don't know, a dishwasher or a certain type of cabinet or a certain type of refrigerator? What's the problem?
definitely. Appliances are also an issue. I have a client who, poor lady, she's just been struggling to get the right refrigerator that she wants. She ordered one back in October, I believe. They said it was about a 3-4 month back order. 4 months passed and she still didn't get her fridge. So she ended up canceling and getting a new refrigerator. The new refrigerator came in. That one doesn't work.
Oh.
So now she,
My
and, so it's definitely an issue. And not just her. I also have another project we're working on where the vanity that they ordered, same thing. It's about this one wasn't as bad. It's a 5-week wait. We waited the 5 weeks. It comes in, the countertop is broken.
Oh my goodness.
So now it's another 2-3 weeks for them to ship out the other one. So yeah.
Why is it more expensive and slow and broken?
I know we had some supply issues. One of I don't know about my industry as much as, so I just went to a car dealership the other day.
Oh yeah, tell me about that.
And I went to Mini, right?
What's
and
Mini?
Mini Cooper.
Oh, Mini,
Yeah,
okay.
I was thinking about buying Mini Cooper,
All right.
right? For my wife, not for me. And so we're talking to the to the car dealer, and he was telling us that Mini has about a 5-month wait for their cars.
Wait, for all minis?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So if they don't have it in stock, you have to build it.
That's bizarre.
Yeah, and so what happens is one of the reasons that's taking them so long is because some material, I forgot what it was. I think it was some raw material that they need to use for their chips. That comes from Ukraine. I don't know if you're up
I didn't
to
know that.
current
Well,
events,
of course,
but
yeah, but
there's a little
I
something
didn't
going
know-
on in Russia.
The chips are made in Taiwan.
No. So the raw material, right? I forgot. He said I forgot the name of the material that they needed, but that's coming from the Ukraine.
Wow.
So they're having shipping issues with that. So that's why the Mini Coopers are taking so long. So they have to find it from other places.
Got it.
In order to make their cars. So so I'm pretty sure that's the same similar that's happening here with building material.
Appliances like GE and what else do we use oftentimes?
Air conditioners,
Air conditioners,
washers, dryers.
Yeah, Frederick air conditioners. Are they built in China? I mean, where are they coming from? Why is it taking so long?
I'm not sure where their manufacturing is done. I know
GE's a Detroit company,
is the
right?
Detroit company. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it's I don't know if they outsource their stuff, but it's definitely. I mean, even something as simple as copper. It is. I mean, the price just went up on copper
so
recently
high.
as well. Yeah. So also, budgeting. They probably don't have the money to build all of it right away, so they're slowing down production a little bit. So, yeah, it's. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it's definitely a nightmare for us contractors. Yeah.
Two last questions.
Sure.
How do you hire and find your guys to work for you? And is there competition between other contractors to get those guys?
Yeah, definitely. Right now, as I said earlier, you have your hard workers who want to learn to work, right? Which I don't mind training. The problem is training takes time.
Yeah.
And with the
Takes
amount
so
of
much
work,
time. It's your time. And your
exactly.
money.
The amount of work that we have right now, we don't have the time
Train.
to go to train somebody,
Okay.
right? So generally, you work through referrals, right? Look, I need us contractors, for the most part, we, especially here in Tudor City, we all know each other. Yeah,
Yeah.
So they'll tell us, look, we have a guy, or I know somebody who's looking for this, and we try to help each other out as much as we can.
Family member, or cousin, or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the neighbor, my backyard neighbor, he's a contractor himself, but he works mainly in Westchester County. And I told him I needed a towel. He goes, okay, I got you. And so he'll let me use some of his guys.
Okay, you need a towel guy.
Yeah. And the thing is, you need to get reliable people.
Yeah.
You can't just throw anybody in there, especially when you're already established. You have a reputation already. It's hard to just pick up somebody and say, all right, here, go ahead, do what you
Can't
have
bring in
to
a
do.
day worker.
Exactly.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Especially you're working in buildings with 1,000 units.
That's right. It's your license on the line.
Exactly. Yeah.
How do you guys? What is someone that's coming in your industry looking to make on an annual basis? I'm not saying you.
Yeah.
Personally, but let's just say someone young coming
Yeah.
in wants to put in the work for a good 5 to 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how much do you think they can make in this business on an annual basis?
You can make as little as, if you do,
As little as $0.
Yeah. No. If you know what you're doing and you get let's say we get about 3-4 projects a month, right? At about $30,000 each
pop.
project, right? It's not gonna happen, right? Sometimes project is only $5,000.
Yeah, we're like
Right, so-
$1,000 paint job. or whatever,
Exactly, yeah. So I'd say if you can on the lower side, you can probably make easily $95,000-$100,000.
Okay.
Right, and that's just basic,
Basic work.
Yeah.
Not breaking your back,
Exactly.
breaking your
Yeah,
balls.
yeah.
You can get.
I mean, it's especially if you have a nice sized crew, you can take multiple jobs on. Yeah, definitely.
And then what about on the higher
On the
end?
high end, you're probably talking about. I know a contractor who makes over $1 million a year.
Wow.
Yeah,
Just doing-
and all he does is high end renovations out in the island, mainly in the island.
Okay.
Just high end renovation, and he also has his He's also invested in an exterior. They do all the facades in New York City.
But with that $1 million comes probably $1 million worth of pain too, right? You're talking higher end clients.
Oh yeah. I mean,
want this and that and this
when
millimeter
I
and
talk
that
to
millimeter.
when I talk to him, he tells me, "Hey Phil, how much you paying for your liability insurance?" I'll tell him the number. He goes, "Can I use your broker?" I'm like, "Why?" And he'll tell me his liability insurance is about $150,000 a year.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm struggling because I have to pay 30.
Yeah.
Right. And not even that. I think that's everything all in that I have to pay. Yeah. So.
Not to mention just the type of clientele that you're also dealing with.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
definitely,
there's a lot of
definitely.
stress.
Oh
$1
yeah.
million
I mean,
price tag. Is it worth it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Just speaking on Tudor City, it's part of Manhattan, so everybody feels like, look, I live in Manhattan.
Oh, yeah.
I have the money. You're gonna listen to what I have to say,
Yeah.
and you're gonna do what I tell you. So okay, that's fine, but these
Yeah, these
aren't.
apartments
This
are
isn't
not-
Central Park West,
Right,
right? You know what I'm saying?
We're not talking.
Yeah.
600 over here.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, that
yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
For those that are interested in coming into the general contracting world or wants to maybe find an apprentice, this is maybe one of the best guys to talk to.
Yeah.
Started from the ground up, worked with your dad.
Yep.
In the summer,
Definitely, yeah.
did all that
yeah.
and kind of learned firsthand on site.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
running his own business now, so this is a really interesting guy to
Thank you,
follow.
thank you, I appreciate that,
You
too.
follow Phil on Instagram, Phil the CEO. It's at Phil_the_CEO and his company at OL Expert Contracting. That's
Yes.
O as in Oscar, your dad?
Oscar, yep.
And then L is what?
Luz, my mom.
Lewis. Oh, your mom.
Luz.
Lewis, your mom.
Luz, yeah.
So OL Expert Contracting. Follow him on Instagram. He's active there. Posts a lot of his stories of personal and business life. So thank you for listening.
I appreciate it.
Hey,
Thank you, Top.
appreciate you coming on,
All right.
man.
Thanks, man.
Thanks for listening to the Real Talk podcast, and we'll see you soon.